Hello, chomiks and the Groovik team. So when I was going through the OST of the chomiks, I discovered one song called "Back to School." When I was playing that game in that school area, I was listening to it, and it's probably one of the worst songs that I've ever heard. So before we start, I would just want to give you a little bit of background here. This is the piece. I painstakingly wrote every single note out except for the drums, but I think the drum sounds fine. But yeah, I'm gonna play it now. Yeah, I mean later on the song you can tell there's something off about it, but I'll show you the reason why. Alright. First of all, I'm sorry UIOP, I had to pick you out. I'm sure you're not a bad artist, and this is created 2 years ago, so you're probably better now. Second of all, this is a great learning opportunity for all the Groovik members. Rayquaza, learn music theory. And also, number 3, I am a music student in my university, but I'm still learning and there might be some mistakes. And yeah, please point them out if you see any. Okay, there's 2 big reasons why it sounds so bad. Number 1, there's no clear tonal center, or it's very confusing in a lot of the parts. And number 2, there's a lot of dissonant clashes everywhere in the song. So number 1, there's confusing tonal center. So what is a tonal center? It's basically the key of the song. So in this case, the key is in C major. So C is the tonal center, right? And this is the C major scale. There's no sharps or flats in C major, so whenever you do see a sharp or a flat, something is up. But anyway, what we do with these notes is that we put thirds on top of them to create triads or chords, and we can label those chords using Roman numerals. And some of them are uppercase, some of them are lowercase, and some of them have a little circle, and that basically represents the quality of those chords, right? So here's the triad for every single note in C major. As you can see, some of them are uppercase and some of them are lowercase. Some of them have this little circle in here. It's called diminished, but you don't need to know that for now. However, in the song, even though we established it's in C major, they used a lot of chords and a lot of notes that are outside of C major. And usually we want to use notes that are diatonic, which means that fits, that's within the key, which is the key of C major, but they don't do that. And because they didn't do that, they did create some, I don't know if it's accidental or did it do it on purpose, I think it's accidental, they did create some pretty nice chords. But yeah, this is more like a literal view of it. At the bottom, you see that they're doing a 4, 5, 6, 1 progression, right? F major, G major, A minor, and C major, and then the chords on top of it kind of don't fit. You got the A minor with the F major, a G major with an F major, an E minor with a G major, a D major with a G major. And the reason why I put like a bunch of question marks with the little red circle is because there's an F sharp. If you remember, there's no sharps or flats in C major. But this is what I mean by they did create some nice chords out of them, because yeah, this is also an A minor, but we have an F here as well, creating an F major 7 chord overall. And then here, if you want to look at these, here you go. This is why some parts doesn't sound too bad. And the reasoning is because they fit within a really large and nice chord. And I don't know if the artist purposely did that, but you know. Here's another example. In this part, we have a 4 chord, which looks fine. All the notes fit within the chord. And then we go to a 1, but there's an A in here, which is really odd because that's the 6th or the 13th of the chord, which I don't think the artist meant to add a 13 unless they're like some kind of like jazz musician. And then we go to a 5, which is fine. And then we go to a 6, and I circled a C and a C sharp. I'll get to that later. And they have a 4 chord, alright, and another 1 with another A, which is a little bit odd. And then this G sharp over here, which also I'll get into later. So overall, they stuck within C major, but they have other notes in it that kind of takes away from that. And from a theory standpoint, when I look at this, I'm like, okay, this is probably in C major, but there's like a bunch of different notes that could like muddy up the water a little bit. But okay, this is not the worst part. This is the worst part. There's a lot of dissonance in this song. So what are dissonance? Dissonance are basically intervals that kind of sound very odd together. And here are some examples. We have major minor seconds, tritones, and major minor sevenths. Those are the dissonant intervals. So these two are the seconds. This is a tritone. This is the sevenths. This one and this one. Now you can hear how jarring they are. Now dissonance is not always bad, right? A lot of music use dissonant intervals to create sort of a tension and release. And a very popular one is a 5-1 progression, right? Because the 5 has that dissonance, and that dissonance resolves to the major chord. So here's a 5-1. This is the 5 chord, and within that chord you can hear there's a tritone dissonance. So not all dissonance are bad, but what is bad is that adding dissonance in places that you don't want it to be added, right? If you want to add dissonance, you want to add it purposefully, not accidentally. So here's a couple examples that I picked out from the song. There's a lot of minor second clashes everywhere throughout the song, right? And then this part, like almost every single note clash with each other. It's so bad. We got minor second clashes, we got major seventh clashes, tritones, major seconds, everything. So this measure 22, which is like over here. So you can hear there's something obviously wrong with it. So how do you avoid these problems? Well, stay within the key and the chord you're using, right? So for example, if you're using a C major chord, try to stick to those notes. For example, C major triad is C, E, G, so try to stick with C, E, G, and you can use other notes too, but make sure you use them correctly. And I here wrote some examples like embellishing tones or chord extensions. And also, if you're using C major, as in the C major key, like in this song, try to stick to C major notes, right? Try not to add a bunch of sharps and flats that don't belong there. Of course, you can add them, but make sure you add them the correct way. For example, if you want to change the mode of the song, like for example, this song starts out in major or Ionian mode, right? And then you want to change to Aeolian or Lydian or whatever mode. Okay, fine. Yeah, you can use different notes that are not diatonic to C major. Or if you want to do like a brief tonicization of a chord, yeah, you can use a sharp or flat as well. But make sure you use them correctly. So, here's the lesson. Please learn a little bit of theory, right? And that's all. Alright, thanks. Thanks for watching.